Alright, and everyone's got character names as a handout, is that right?
Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
but Sam's character isn't there.
Because I didn't know the name when I wrote the handout.
Quick query, guys. The modifiers for something that are scarce, rare, or very rare. What are we dealing with in this location?
Okay, so let's go to the Book of Power. So scarce is a -10, rare is a -20. Was that one you asked about? Sorry.
Very. I guess each rank is just
One.
-10, -20, -30. Like.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Average is
Okay.
equals, and then. Yep. And as Chris has raised, you can actually also do a commerce check to improve your chances if you've got commerce.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
I tried that.
I
and
do
failed.
not.
Yeah. To
Who's
follow
who's
my
got
thing,
a commerce check?
I do. I'm about to roll it myself, but in that acquisition email I sent you was that I was trying to purchase all 3 items from the same dealer,
Yes.
and thus convert that person from being somebody I don't know to somebody that I do know,
Yep.
which then produces a +10 on commerce. So my idea was that I was going to the upper hive because I want mesh armor, so I needed to go up somewhere more upmarket and you know, go in there, have a glass of wine, I assume, with the tailor/armorer, and tell him about how lovely his wares are. And so I brought up the possibility of rolling at 0 for my first test, and then like a +10 on the following 2 tests.
Yeah, I'm
So
happy.
I could go
Yeah, I
over,
mean,
like,
certainly you're not a customer till you made a purchase. So I think
Yeah,
that
exactly, so-
you would need to have a successful test before you can benefit from an association bonus as such.
Yep, agree. So I was going for the clip harness that I wanted integrated into a belt,
Yes.
and that was going to be my first option. And then after that was going to go after a mesh cloak, and
Yep.
then
Mesh
the other
helmet.
thing was I want to modify, yeah, some sort of a mesh helmet thing or synth skin thing.
Yep.
I mean, you can work that out.
I
because
treat it
even
the
if I
same
get it
same
now-
rarity as a
Yeah.
mesh cloak anyway. So that would be
Okay, which is very rare, I think it is.
mesh
one.
is.
I
Right here.
I will treat it as mesh vest. So treat it as rare. It's only covers a single
Rare.
piece.
Yeah.
Is
Alright,
there
so
any
I'll go for
chance
the-
if I'm just trying to? Oh, sorry, man.
Yeah, you go, man. That's alright. I'm just going to roll them up now.
I was just
Come
gonna
on,
ask,
drop
is there any
harness.
chance I can focus my my rolls on one item?
Yep. So what I said in the email was that you can use 2 rolls for a +10, or all 3 rolls for a
Right.
+20.
Right.
All or
Damn it, I
nothing.
used my first one, so I'm gonna try using my last 2 remaining rolls on trying this one again, the same item. So wish me luck, guys.
Good luck.
No, I did not get it.
Oh dang.
God, we suck at getting gear.
I'm supposed to be the good. I'm supposed to be like the good gear getter, and I fucking really badly fucked up too. I got 1 of my 3, and I was rolling plus like. It wouldn't have mattered if I took a +20 on the other ones.
Mike, are you in Roll20?
Yes, I am.
Okay, that's weird. I just
It's,
haven't-
though for some reason it's showing my icon as a little swirling thing.
Yeah, same for mine actually.
I
But that's all right.
don't
As
know
long, as long
why.
as you can see what's on the screen, that's fine.
I can see what's on the screen.
Yep.
I might log out and try logging back in because it's actually a little bit weird.
Okay, if it makes you feel good.
It does.
So good.
It's a good thing.
Alright, for my first one, I rolled commerce and it didn't help me. And then I rolled my influence and I did not pick up my
Clip harness.
drop harness, which was what I was hoping to be able to get my +10. But so I'll go for the mesh armor this time. I don't get anything, so commerce again.
So when we're doing these requisition tests, can we actually apply a commerce thing as well on top of the bonuses that you already gave us, James?
Yes, so you can always do a commerce test to improve your, effectively artificially increase your influence for the purpose of a single transaction. So I will bring up the rules in the L book.
Yeah, I saw that before, and I just wasn't sure whether that actually applied to the between missions. And look, I won't go back on my roles that I've already done, but I'll just remember that for the future.
Yep.
Otherwise,
You're right,
it's
because
too-
normally the intent of that is that the person with the best commerce becomes the group's getterer, basically. The intent being that
They can only get 3 things.
Sorry?
They can only get 3 things. So that kind of limits that ability. They can only get 3 things.
Mhm.
Yes, I did not get that. So let's try the
What?
hood.
Why doesn't anybody like us?
Nobody wants to give us anything.
No one knows you.
No,
I'll
no.
tell you what. I'll tell you why. Because we fucking shot down like people think we shot down a sky bus.
Yes!
Over the port.
You know what I think we should do? I think we should go down to the Merchants District with a Warhammer and crack some skulls, and then we'll get some decent discounts.
Yeah, sure, give
I
it a
have
go.
a Warhammer.
I am in favor of this strategy. I would like to subscribe to your publication.
Well, look, I just got a las gun with a grenade launcher on the underside. So
Oh, come on! No, I got nothing. I chatted to the store owner 3 separate occasions, and he had nothing for me. He has no mesh armor. There is none.
You see, I was trying to get the most easy things. I was getting stuff of average or better availability, and I didn't get anything either.
I'd like a glow globe. No.
no,
3
we've already
times.
got those.
Thrice no, I tell you. Thrice no. Oh well.
Oh, hey, just reading here that they're doing a new MacGyver, but they're going to use a female MacGyver.
Nobody's gonna beat Richard Dean Anderson.
I got to see the first
don't
episode of the
really
new
know.
Thunderbirds last night.
Oh no.
Why the hell would you?
My sister's the publishing agent for the show, so she showed me the first episode.
Masochist.
Alright, everyone done
so
filling their roles?
Horribly failing.
Yep. Clearly,
Is
we're only
Samantha
ever gonna be in the game.
another.
Yeah, so Sam will be
I was gonna
playing
say,
another
Samantha,
acolyte.
another priest.
Well, we'll find out, won't we? In character, I'm sure.
She said Warhammer, so
It does mean generally does well unless you acquired it separately through one of her optional acquisitions. That would normally imply Adeptus
There you go.
Ministorum origin.
you are very, very true.
I'm hoping Protect Priest.
The old tech hammer.
What's it called again? The cog thing. It counts as a power weapon, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, the
Messiah cog or something?
yeah, I don't know what you mean. The Omnisarian axe.
Omnisarian axe.
Yeah, it also
The
counts.
extremely
that's-
rare Omnisarian axe.
Which also counts as a combi tool.
Don't you
That's right.
Don't they start with that, bud?
Not in
No.
second edition.
No.
They don't.
Oh.
No. They start with a bed spanner.
Wait, wait for Mike's rant about overpowered tech priests. Insert here.
Yeah, the fact they used to start with power weapons was a bit over the top, yes.
Fix that for you.
But that said, nothing's as overpowered as tech priests in Only War.
Alright, so before we get started, did anybody have any specific questions about the material I sent out about what you gathered from the bodies, the evidence that was collected and such. I mean, Kirst has claimed most of it for the purposes of sort of cataloguing and sending to Inquisitor Azarak, but obviously you've still got access to it if you want to do something with it, and you've had basically the best part of a week to follow up any leads, although that being said, sort of Kirst has encouraged you to stay with or around him and not sort of go off on any future escapades of your own, and because he's basically waiting for further orders from the Inquisitor.
Okay. Did we decide what we're going to do with the bolt pistol and the plasma pistol and like the other really rare stuff?
I did I only send that to you, James? The blue booking stuff that I.
Someone gave me the plasma pistol. Yeah, I've got an email
certainly
about
did
that.
give you the plasma pistol in a very nonchalant
Yeah.
way. Like you were doing me a service by getting rid of it.
Did you want
Taking
this?
it off
I don't
my
really
hands.
want it.
I don't really want this. Doesn't really go with my outfit. Was more or less. And also, you're such a bad shot that you need the power of a sun.
So did you want to keep that, or did you did you want to keep that?
I was going to keep
or
hold
what are
of
we
that,
doing?
but the bolt
Okay,
pistol
cool.
I had no interest in at all.
Look, if no
we-
one's interested in ball pistol, I'll happily take it. But look, if you want to trade in for something else, like that's cool with me too. Because I'm not trained in it, and I don't know if I'll ever will be in the near future.
Why don't we trade it in and see if we can get Mike some armor or something, like a carapace
Ooh.
breastplate or something.
Yeah. Although to get weapon training, it's isn't it finesse and general or something? Like it's
Yeah,
something
it's
that,
finesse in
like,
general.
you-
It's not that expensive. I picked
Really?
Yeah,
up
exactly. Like,
training
look,
in
I could,
plasma.
I was even
I could
considering
take-
getting power weapon just so I can use this power sword because it was only going to cost 300 XP to get qualled in power weapons.
Because I actually do have finesse. So how much would that cost for me to pick up weapon training bolt?
200
XP.
Oh Jesus! I'm gonna rescind my XP purchases. Jesus, I'll train in that and take the bolt pistol if no one wants to.
No, takes his backsies.
Yep.
That's right, you can take his backsies.
Yep.
No. We have an open policy on taxi backsy.
Yep, that's fine.
For you, Harris.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm hanging out for a force weapon. Now, James, as far as I can tell, there is no weapon training for force weapon, so it just counts as a normal melee weapon with best quality and mono.
It counts as a best
Unless-
quality low-tech weapon.
Yeah, and then you just need to have the force ability. I jumped on the forum as well on Fantasy Flight and read something there, and it seemed to say that pretty much there is no. You just need to be psychic to be able to use it. There is no weapon finesse, like weapon quality to. You don't need to be trained in it.
No, that's right. No,
Yeah, there's
they,
no
they are a
weapon
low
training
tech. They're a
force.
low tech weapon. That's it. That's the way it's always been,
Okay.
basically.
Hanging out for my near unique force sword.
Yes. You can do other people doing this every time you kill somebody. Has he got a force sword? Has he got a force sword? Does this
got a force
street
sword.
scum have a force sword? Oh, he's got a force staff. I don't want one of
Alright.
those.
Oh God, fine, I'll carry that.
All right. So
If
nothing
anybody
else.
finds one, I have a power sword. I'm willing to trade.
Just gotta check.
Just FYI, if you're supposed to be a sneaky assassin, Harris, a bolt pistol is definitely gonna blow your cover.
Yeah,
It's perfect
I
for
guess
doing exactly that.
Look, being an Adeptus Arbites in the Enforcer armor, like I kind of wanted it just as a status symbol, even if I don't use it that much. Like if I'm pulling it out, it's making a point.
Just
I have to
waggle it at
say, I
people.
think 40k missed the memo about assassins being sneaky when they create things like the Eversaw assassin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a statement.
And let's face it, when we were going up against that Damon House, I don't really think it cared what I was.
Well, the only thing it cared about was that you were 51 meters away, so it couldn't deploy its mine explosion.
And that's how I
the
want to
only it
keep
cared
these
about.
combat encounters.
51
Guys,
meters away.
I'm gonna go be 200 meters away from the encounter. You guys go on ahead, and yeah, just call me if you need me.
Yeah, well, a bolt pistol's 30 meters. So, Did anyone take the power maul?
I assume that was going to the priest.
I also assumed that.
I didn't actually take the power maul, no.
Can I trade it in?
How many clips of ammo did the bolt pistol have, by the way?
Let me just double check. That was, I think, a single. Oh, actually, hold on a second. No, this was from Holthane, wasn't it? He had. Okay, no. So just a single clip in the bolt pistol, so the 8 rounds.
Oh, I gotta make it count because that shit's expensive to reload.
Yeah.
How heavy are those 3 books, by the way?
I mean, you're probably talking total between the 3 of them, maybe about 10 kilos. That human flesh binding isn't light.
That is a good portion of my carry. Can I grab back that backpack that you had, Harris?
Yeah, man, you take it.
Because that increases my carry load by 30 kilos, and to be honest, if I don't think I can actually carry myself and those 3 books, which may be useful to us.
You know your own weight doesn't count towards your encumbrance.
Yeah, I know it doesn't count towards that.
Hey, just before we start, remind me, Harris, what part of Queensland are you in?
Brisbane.
You're in Brisbane. Okay.
Oh, what?
Because I sent the message, I'm going to be in Brisbane this week. If anyone wants to catch up for a drink.
Look, I'll be honest with you.
I saw it.
I saw it. I did see it, but look, my partner and I have just split up this week, so I've been kind of going through some stuff.
Yep, you're all good, mate. It's all right.
Ouch.
Ooh, awkward. Okay.
That's right. Feel bad about it now, you jerk.
We're still recording, right?
Yes. I could relive this
Jesus.
moment.
Yeah. You know what's perfect for this? Killing heretics. That makes everybody feel better.
Alright then, so we may as well get started. So, Sam, I'll bring you in just a moment. I'm just going to cover off what these guys sort of get initially.
Don't worry.
Yep. So, you've spent the time, obviously, in the last week in or around the mid-hive while Kirst reviews the materials that you bought back. He also sent, as you were aware, a sort of clean-up squad to Holthane's estate, as it were, but it appears that somebody had already been there and cleaned out the best stuff, including the coveted hand, while you were away. Kirst has also claimed the orb from Darius, although it's not like it's been disposed of. You know, it's basically in his possession. And the sort of statement is, if you think that taking this would be useful for future investigations, i.e., like, you know, to say I'm a person selling horrible heretical items, here's my wares, you can still do that, just got to be careful with it, basically. But for the meantime, he will have it stored in a void crate somewhere to ensure that it doesn't see the light of day, so to speak. But finally, after that week, Kirst sort of calls you back in from wherever it is you've gone abroad to, shopping, sleeping, whatever it might be, and says that he's received a new transmission from the Inquisitor about how to proceed next. So each of you are turned up at the same hab block as before. It is just as dingy as before, though when you find Kirst in his room, there are lots more things around the room. So he's actually got like a sort of hand-drawn side-on map of the hive now stuck up on the wall, along with a number of pics of various people. Most of them look like noble families, and a lot of them are sort of stuck up on the board with lines drawn to various sections of the upper hive, along with pictures or descriptions of various items that you recognise came from Holthane's records. So it looks like basically he's been map tracking where items have gone to. It's more concerned with the final destination than with the origin, as far as you can tell on this chart. But there's also lots of books around, lots of parchments. A lot of it is official reports from sanctuaries, for example, so maybe dossier type information on these families as well. And it looks like Kirst has been He normally has a pretty haggard look, but he also looks right now hasn't slept in a few days as well. Going through all this material, his usually down face is slightly more hung than normal. All of you, you're here. Please come in and sit down. And sort of proffers the chairs that are around the room. You notice there is actually a fifth chair this time, along with the four that are normally laid out.
I put my feet up on it.
Nice. Our mistress has had some time to review the information that you sent through. She has had me and my agents begin conducting some inquiries in the upper hive, but I believe that she has other missions for you. She has sent a message. If you will all give it a moment to quiet, I will play the message now. And as usual, he produces a servo skull from a box, keys the activation sequence on it, and it powers up with...
My acolytes, first let me commend you on your recent escapades. Kirst has forwarded me your reports, and although the details of your investigation are disturbing, your actions are to be commended. Few acolytes will face such a powerful opponent as the Daemon host so early in their career, and fewer still will survive such an encounter. My duties to the throne still require me elsewhere, but Kirst has reviewed with me the evidence taken during your investigation, and subsequently from the office and person of Zax Holthane, and from the heretic you encountered in the deep tunnels beneath Port Gaia. Your investigation has confirmed my suspicions that a group known as the Trade Sable has been engaged in the transport and distribution of artifacts of an unknown Xenos origin. Not an organization per se, but rather a collection of smugglers and criminals operating under a single banner. The records you recovered from Holthane's offices outline the numerous clients of his branch of the trade, predominantly noble families there on Hive Desolation. Your skills would be wasted pursuing these particular buyers. Kirst has agents that can recover items and prosecute those who have them. I have other duties for you. The event of Port Gaia trouble me greatly. The man you killed in the tunnels was a heretic named Sominus Halbrel. Kirst has found little information on Halbrel before his arrival on Desolation, but I believe that he is not a member of the Trade Sable. Instead, I suspect that he is part of some heretical cult that we have yet to encounter. The text you took from his body was an excerpt from the Expeditio, a proscribed tome. The segment Halbrel had described an elaborate ritual designed to bind a daemon named Sephiroth to the caster's will. I have no further information on this daemon at the present time, but other agents of mine are working to discover more. The lander, 341 Beta Sky, a false ident obviously, was shot down by armsmen in the service of the Officio Auctorat Portus. The official report was that the Port Auspex systems detected weapons on the lander powering up as it came into land, but in all likelihood Halbrel or his masters bribed someone in the Auctorat. I suspect that further investigation along this line would likely lead to a series of annoyingly dead ends, and are best handled by Kirst and his agents. But if you wish to make inquiries in your own time, that is your own prerogative. With that being said, whilst the list of ships and deliveries collated by Holthane is likely full of doctored information, adequate time spent comparing dates and void port records may eventually narrow down a number of void ships likely involved with Trade Sable. This, in turn, would lead us to the origin of the artifacts. This will take some time, and I intend to keep you busy before sending you off-world. To that end, I am directing you to follow up a line of inquiry you happened upon earlier, the Gallows Way. Following your report, Kirst accessed records on this Oath Captain, Catian Nils. She has filed a number of reports with the Sanctuaries about potential cult activity in the Gallows Way, as well as the possible presence of objects of an unhallowed nature. Throne willing, these matters are related to your recent investigation. But even if they aren't, their true nature should still be discovered. You will need to determine how best to approach Nils. There may be an advantage in revealing your true nature. It will sway the Sanctuaries quickly, but you risk driving the cult, if it exists, into hiding. Likewise, as you have already discovered, finding and maintaining the appropriate cover also includes its own difficulties. Before I return you to Kirst for further instruction, there are a few things I wish to convey to each of you. Volkov. This investigation with the Trade Sable will likely bring you into contact with further objects like the Orb. You must steel your mind against the foul influence of these artifacts, for you have seen the damage that they can do to those who succumb. If you feel your resolve against their effects slipping, you must inform Kirst immediately so that he can determine the appropriate sanction. Kungoro. The resourcefulness that you display is impressive, and one of the main reasons that I wanted you in my service. You must always remember, however, that every line of inquiry has a point which to venture past poses great danger. With that being said, I am certain that investigations in the Trade Sable are in both of our interests. If an item of great import is being moved covertly through the Ascalon sector, the Trade Sable will be involved at some point. Lucius. Your fervour and courage are to be commended, and the injury you sustained in the battle against the Daemon host will be an ongoing reminder of your devotion. If you require any augmetics to supplement your loss, inform Kirst, and he will ensure that they are supplied. And Kane, I understand that you landed the killing blow against the Daemon host itself. You will need to be aware that by slaying the form to which it was bound, the Daemon itself has been released. Should you ever have occasion to confront Sepharius again, it will likely remember your past dealings. And now, my acolytes, the depths of Desolation await. May you act as my eyes, ears, and executing arm to stand against the further contamination of humanity.
And as before, the skull descends back into the case. Kirst sort of looks up again. There is one other matter that has come up since our mistress sent her orders. She's had me on the lookout for other potential acolytes, other servants that may join our cause. And there is one which I have chosen to extend the opportunity to. He goes over to another door and opens it and sort of says, You can come through now. Okay, Sam, for your benefit, this gentleman Kirst. Kirst is what's known as an interrogator. They are basically the second in command to an inquisitor, and it's the highest rank to which an acolyte can rise before being granted the actual mantle of inquisitor. Generally speaking, most inquisitors will only have one, whereas they'll have a large number of acolytes that serve beneath them. Kirst himself is a very pious man. He sort of wears the trappings of a priest, although from what you picked up in your brief conversations with him, he also has a background in the Imperial Guard, so he may have been some form of militant priest or such, or perhaps a priest in the Guard itself. He's heavily scarred and also has a very dour attitude. He's got a large section of his body has been replaced with augmentics from an injury. That basically means his usefulness as a field agent has gone. He's no longer has the speed or adroitness he once had, and so now he mainly conducts the affairs of the Inquisitor on this planet, Hive Desolation, and in the area as well. He's told you that he has recruited you for the purposes of joining a group currently on the Hive in the Inquisitor's service. He hasn't really told you much about the group themselves. You do know that they recently had a significantly dangerous encounter, one that Kirst didn't give you much detail on, but you knew that tonight was the night you'd be meeting with them, and then basically joining their current investigation. So, would you like to describe your character as you enter the room?
I think Sam just needs a second, just one sec.
Okay. Would you prefer if everyone else describes their character as
English,
you
my
enter the
friend.
room?
Yes. English, remember. Yes.
All right, so we'll start off with Mike. You can describe your character then.
Okay, my character is fairly tall and muscular, with some horrible facial scars, shaved head, probably 30s or 40s. He's got some tribal tattooing around his neck and arms, dressed in a sort of chainmail, and a livery over the top marking him as some sort of crusader possibly, carrying a warhammer and some other guns.
Can I just ask, did I hear Sam laugh there when you described your character as tall and muscular because you're short and weakling?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Oh, zing. Zing.
All right, Chris.
Ouch.
Ow, my pride.
So my character sits a bit further back in the group. He appears to be wearing a dark coloured livery jacket. It has the trappings of a rogue trader, but it appears that the majority of it has been subdued and has had some wear to it. He appears to be in his early to mid-20s, but he has the wrinkles and wear lines of more of a 30-year-old. So his stature does not line up with the details of his look. He looks fairly slender, and the jacket looks like maybe it was when he was originally fitted to it, he was bigger than he is now. He appears to not be carrying any weapons, and pretends to be uninterested in the events going around him, but he does shoot his eyes across to perceive people and analyze people occasionally. Yeah.
All right, Harris.
Darius looks like he's probably mid-20s, mid to late 20s. It has jet black hair about shoulder length. He's currently adorned in black carapace armor. The sigil of the Adeptus Arbites can be barely seen, but it is there. He's got a large sniper rifle pretty much hooked on his back at all times. He has a fairly militant look about him, gaunt cheekbones, and yeah.
All right, and Cameron.
Kangoro is probably the shortest of everyone there. He looks like he's definitely well fed. He's not fat, but he's looked after. He's bald. He's got a couple of big scars on his face. Looks like shrapnel's hit him in the face in the past. He's wearing an armored body glove. He's got 2 swords hanging at his hip, yeah, I think that's about it.
So just for your benefit, Sam, when Chris mentioned his character looked like a rogue trader is basically a spaceship captain. They're quite rare. Spaceships are exceedingly old and ancient devices that require tens of thousands of people to operate, and rogue traders are generally the ship captains that run these, or at least the families that they serve are like that. And in the case of Harris, where he mentioned his armor, there's the sigils of the Adeptus Arbites. They are sort of like a interstellar police force. Whereas individual forces on a single planet might see to the laws of that planet, the Arbites are responsible for seeing that the laws of the Imperium in general are held to, often by the nobility of the planet as well. Any questions on your part, Sam, before I throw it back to you to describe your character?
No.
Okay. So, would you like to render a description?
Okay, so yes. Sister is 1.70 tall, around 30ish. She's svelte built, has golden hair and watery blue eyes. The most singular feature, well, for now, is she has sharp cheekbones, and she's dressed in the flag robes of the Sister Sororitas, carrying a chain sword and pistols.
Yep, so she clearly bears Sororitas emblems for those of you who would have occasion to know that, probably anyone with basic levels of Common Law Imperium or Ministorum, or Ecclesiarchy. It does appear, Kangoro, that your feet are on her chair.
I remove my
From
feet.
a sh-
I remove my feet, stand up, and pull the chair out and offer it, bowing low.
This is Sister Demetria Val Polana. I will allow you, once we are concluded here, to make your own introductions. I'd also ask that you take some time to bring Mamselle Demetria up to speed on your current investigations. In the meantime, I have compiled some documents here that may be of use to you. First, you mentioned this Oath Captain KTR Nils in your former report based upon your dealings with the Sanctuaries. As the Inquisitor indicated, I have done some research into her, and I have included a dossier here for your review. Secondly, since the location of the investigation would appear to be the Gallows Way, I put together a small brief on things you should know about the Gallows Way. So for everybody's sake, if you look in your handouts now, you should have the briefing from the Inquisitor, if you want to refer back to that, along with a dossier on Nils and some information on the Gallows Way. Can everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
Same.
Yep, I can see it.
No worries. So, take some time to become acquainted, and I will still be here if you have any direct questions you wish to ask, but once you're ready to set off, I would suggest you make your way to the Gallows Way. Without further questions, he
thank you
turns
very
back to the
much.
work he's doing.
Darius looks towards Valkov and Kangoro, typically assuming that the social leads in most situations.
Yeah. Lucius stands up for the Sororitas and sort of looks at his feet.
Kangoro and Volkov can probably tell that
bashful.
she has an air of nobility about her as well.
Another noble. Okay, that's interesting. Can I tell anything about like her? Can I tell anything about like her armor or anything like that?
It's basically flak armor. It's not the full-on power armor of the Sororitas. So it may be something that a lower level curate or nunciate might normally wear. It still bears the sigils, it's just not the full powered battle armor. But it is fully covering, includes a helmet and everything, so it's clearly made for war.
I guess I bow low and say, and what brings you on this wonderful little journey that we all seem to be on together?
Isn't it quite obvious?
If it was obvious, I wouldn't have asked. You are a friend of our good friend Cursed?
Cursor looks up with a slight grunt.
I was chosen for the task, and that's what we're gonna do, right?
Well, it sounds like you have a plan. That's good to hear. I'm sure that you'll be very useful.
Kirst does look up at this point. You must understand that I had the impression from your earlier report that your group may have had some deficiencies in certain areas of expertise. I selected
I smirk at that.
Mamselle Demetria as a person capable of filling those lax requirements. I'm always on the lookout for potential recruits. In fact, I'd be interested if you take the measure of this Nils. She seems like the sort of person who may be suitable to our needs, but I would be interested in your opinions.
I would be
I look
interested to know
over.
what deficiency she's meant to fill. I look over and I don't. It's not quite apparent.
My character taps at the hole where his ear used to be.
What? I can't hear you.
You're talking in my good ear.
By the way,
Angora
he's
stands
taken
up
to
and-
wearing a small metal box around on a chain around his neck, containing the remains of the ear.
Lannister.
So I guess Kangaroo stands up and moves over to Kirsten and says, "Before we recruit any more, shall we say, willing individuals, I need to know if there's been any progress on the deal that I struck with Azarak. I need to know if my armor is still on the table."
Yes, I thought that would be inferred in the information that she conveyed, in that this trade sable would appear to be the best lead, given that they are the ones most responsible for the transit of illicit or stolen goods.
Good, because I'm not the kind of person who will be used up and spat out. There are still those who call me heretic.
His
And then
his
I spin
eyebrow
on-
raises
Spin on my
slightly.
heel.
Yeah. He sort of grunts and turns back to his work.
I spin on my heel and walk away.
I watch him leave and shake my head like, oh god.
You do have more problems than I thought.
We're a regular bunch of children.
I cast Valkov a glance and I smile. Speak for yourself.
Was there a dossier?
Yes.
that
So
was
yeah,
left there?
in the journal
I'm
you should
gonna-
see the materials that he's placed in front of you.
Yeah, Lucius starts
I'll
having a
lean
flick through the information on the
Yeah.
gallows way.
Yep, I'll grab the one on the Oath Captain.
Right, I'll give you guys a chance to quickly read those if you like.
Yeah, just reading through it
Yep.
quickly. Just a second.
Is everyone just reading through the dossier?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I'll just put them on the screen as well,
Great
so that
podcast.
the viewers can read them as well.
Great
Show the good
podcast.
people at home what they've got.
I think some
I'll fill
tactful
Sister
editing might be
Demetria in
necessary.
on the details of what we've done so far.
Thank you, brother.
And Lucius gives her a link to YouTube.
I would rather do it in character, just for our viewers who need to catch up as well.
Okay, yeah. Last time on Dark Heresy.
Second edition.
So, the Inquisitor has set us to the task of investigating the Trade Sable, which are a group of criminals bringing alien artifacts to this world and tainting people with their foul influence. The best we were able to discover, there was someone purchasing large amounts of items which were being brought in. Our investigations led us to a prolific trader whose location was later raided. However, items were still missing at that raid. while our current investigation led us on to locating what's known as I believe someone mentioned demon host, some sort of demon bound in flesh. We were able to destroy it at no small loss, and as such now we continue to mop up the small pieces which remain, mostly find out where the artifacts which have gone missing have gone to, and see if we can find any links as to where they could have come from. Does anyone else have anything extra to add that they think I've missed?
No, I think that's
There were a good amount of
that sums it
colourful
up.
details for certain. A daemon host here, ruffian there. Just
James,
the small stuff.
Yes.
I'm just trying to remember. I know Harris did the vast majority of the damage to the demon host, but I believe it was the plasma round from my untrained hand that eventually killed the demon. So
That is true.
Yeah, just to clarify that, is the demon still after Harris or is it after me?
When you meet it, you're more than welcome to ask it. Obviously, the Inquisitor misread the report there, or Curse misreported it.
I'm
Yeah.
totally happy for the demon to want to take it out in good old Valkov. Just saying.
Yeah, me too.
It's always on the Psyker. It's because I'm Voidborn, isn't it? Nobody likes me.
Bloody witch.
Alright, so I'm finished with the briefings?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Okay.
I'd say I couldn't help but notice my character notices that maybe the good captain has been, you know, not being used to her full capabilities and being wrongfully held back, which my character feels akin to. So I have a positive disposition to the good captain, Niels. But yeah, it's my character's feelings on the matter.
Samantha, for your benefit, one of the things that you've been given upon coming to this hive is a device called an oath cog. So it's a small clockwork or mechanical device that is used by the people of this planet to track who owes whom what. Usually it's in the form of fealty or oaths or just service, and effectively this is this world's currency. You trade the various promises that you've been given to other people as such, or at least you use it to represent the fact that you fill a certain role in society, and therefore society owes you a certain thing, whether it is food or a roof over your head as such. It does sort of prevent people from rising through the class system. You're pretty much locked to whatever social status your oath cog is built around. Normally, visitors to the world don't get an oath cog unless they suddenly find themselves beholden to someone on the world. Normally they're given a sort of a letter of trade or a mark of trade. However, you've been given effectively a fake cog for if you wanted to try and insinuate that you were a local. It would be evidence of a... So effectively it's part of a cover.
Yeah, definitely.
So you guys have still got all the cogs from the last time. Kirst had no interest in recovering any of those from you. Plus, don't forget you got the oath. You also got the oath cog off Halbril, which gives unfettered access to Port Gaia.
What about the oath cog of the house?
Yeah, well, you were looking at potentially using that as a form of blackmail, or...
Yeah, I had thought about returning it back to somebody and creating a link back to that family, perhaps giving requisitioning things through them. and giving the whole party a bonus to requisition bonuses by handing back the oath cog. But I don't know if that's going to be, between game or during game.
It's the sort of thing I'd sort of want everybody's okay. I don't mind doing that, but I think that it's the sort of thing that even your character would know. Best off to not decide on your own.
Yeah, no, definitely, yeah.
We did have a good old chat the other day.
We did. Actually, speaking about that, Kangoro, have you got the radio, the Voxcaster? The one that was keyed in on the Heretic had, and
Yeah, that's right.
We couldn't raise anybody on it, so
yeah, that's right. I think we've
tried.
tried.
That.
I've got that. I think we try it like once, and then when nobody answers, we don't try it again. Does that sound?
You still monitor, I believe, don't you?
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. So right now, in the time since then, it has been silent.
Yep. Also on that gear, I grabbed the contact lens, the photo lenses.
Oh yes, the photo visors.
Yeah, I think they were photo contacts.
Okay.
Not visors. So, but yeah. Anyway, I do have those.
Okay. Everyone read up?
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
Close the dossier and toss it back on the table, and look over at Kangoro and say, who do you have in the Gallows Way? Insinuating to our many long nights of regicide and drinking Amasec.
I have a few contacts there. I can see if I can rustle up any information on our good friend. Shall we head down there and I'll see what I can find out about her?
Good plan.
Well, I don't think we're going to find out too much up here, so that's probably for the best.
Yep. I'll take all my usual kit as well as the books in the backpack, and we'll go from there.
Cameron, did you want to give me a common law roll to see what additional information you know about the Gallows Way from your time on Desolation?
Let's do that.
Yep.
Is that any particular plus or minus?
Yeah, do it as a... I'm trying to think what you've got that would be... I'm looking at, wrong character. Just seeing what your law skills are. You could do it as a common law underworld test at plus 10.
Mm-hmm. Plus 10, go. 42, so no, I don't. I just missed out.
Okay, isn't your intelligence 40?
Oh wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Sorry, I missed
1 degree of success. Okay. So the real power in the Gallows Way comes from the carrion guilds. So I mean, the Gallows Way is in itself given over to the processing of the hive's dead, and so the carrion guilds are the closest thing that the Gallows Way has to nobility. It has some gang problems, but it's actually been relatively reduced by the construction of the Purity Gate. So normally sanctuaries don't really go that low in the hive regularly, but for whatever reason the decision was made at some point to reclaim part of the lower hive. They built the Purity Gate to keep the gangs and other ruffians out, establish a sanctuary presence there, and they've tried to sort of return a sense of civility to the area as such. That being said, there are still stories of gang activity, mainly to do with the theft of bodies from the charnel houses. For whatever nefarious purposes, gangs want dead bodies. There is certainly a body trade going on, but it's minor at the moment because of the Purity Gate. They've managed to quell a lot of the more nefarious activity.
Okay, so do I know anybody in particular down there? Like, is there any contacts or anything that I could make? Any independent traders or?
Yep. So the best person you know to speak to is there's a man by the name of Cog Lostock. So COG, if it's the first name, LOSTOK. He's a former like Apex, so higher hive Churgeon, who fled the upper hive after some sort of scandal, and he's now sort of a he's not like a ruler down there, but he's been there for a long time, and so he's a sort of he knows everybody and has a good idea about what's going on. He's usually found around the scrap market or the boneyards.
Does he know me?
You would be able to say, we both know such and such. Yeah,
Okay.
you can organise a sort of introduction if necessary.
Alright, sweet. Well, shall we head down to the gallows where my compatriots?
I think that sounds like a good idea. I think it's best if we head down there and just have a little look around first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once again, Kirst has organised you a conveyance, an auto carriage. So you head out into the streets in the mid hive. You've done the descent into the lower hive before. This is nothing new. You're simply taking one of the many elevating platforms from the mid hive down to the lower hive. The whole journey will take you the best part of a couple of hours. So you can obviously do further introductions along the way. Unless there's anything specific that you guys want to cover off with each other, I'm happy to sort of fast forward to the gallows way and just say that you guys have had 2 hours of getting to know one another.
Getting to know.
My character's going to build a little bit of a cover story while we're travelling down and start blessing the poor. I'm doing some sort of pilgrimage down there.
Okay.
I will start to converse with Kangor and Valkov as far as what we're planning to do when we get down there. I suppose I'd look to them and I'd say, this Oath Captain Nils, what are your thoughts as far as our cover story?
Well, this seems like one of the first instances where I get to be myself. I am known in this part of the hive. I don't know if we should keep on pretending to be criminals who are looking for illicit goods. That might not be the best course of action down this way. It's as likely to see us robbed and left in the gutter as it is to get us anywhere.
Well, if the dossier is any indication, this Captain Nils doesn't seem to be a big fan of anyone who doesn't really side with the law, so...
Perhaps Harris. Sorry, correction. Perhaps Darius.
Okay.
We could be a special task force.
Well, I am a Mortier, and typically my path is one of solitude. I tend to work alone and take out marks alone. I'm not exactly well trained in deception, but if you have a convincing excuse for a Mortiers to have a cadre of disparate individuals like ourselves, I am more than happy to hear it.
Well, we could be part of your information gathering network to assist you to come in and do the killing blow.
And
That is
who
an
would we be
option.
killing?
Well, I assume there's always somebody that needs killing.
If we're going to be hobbooting around in the name of the law, that's going to draw a lot of attention.
It's going to draw a lot of attention.
Hey, we're here to kill people. Yes.
Well, we only need to tell the captain that
perhaps you should feel her out and see how much she can be trusted with. Could our sanctuary friend from the upper hive be able to smooth the transition? Get rid of any of those niggling questions?
How about we actually spend a little bit of time down there first, just having a little look around at what's going on, then we'll be able to build a cover story that actually works with whatever we witness.
That suits me well enough.
Once again, Father Lucius comes through with the voice of reason.
Look, I've still got some hallucinogen grenades, you guys.
Just itching to use those.
I'm so keen.
I'm going to tell you the same thing I told you last night when we were playing Regicide. That is not going to help the game.
It can't hurt. Alright, so shall we go? It's just Tempetuo. Sorry, what was your character's name? Temetria. Does she have any
There you go.
any sage advice for us? Oh, hello.
She's just quietly staring at you guys, and she'll remain like that the whole way.
Great, that's not off-putting at all.
Isn't it?
I hate it when they watch.
Guys, check out the new girl.
She's looking at us.
Alright.
I'm quite sure she's not sizing us up for pyres to be burnt at all.
I haven't even dropped my shady side yet. I don't even know if she knows that yet.
So 2 awkward hours later, you
Hey, I make it far less awkward by giving peasants small pieces of money.
okay. You emerge.
Just letting them know we're coming.
You emerge from the lifts into the Gallows Way. So the Gallows Way has that stink, not so much of death, but just of old ground bone and rusted metal. So it doesn't sound like so it doesn't smell like corpses. It smells like what you'd expect in, say, a mortuary, where that's sort of chemically clean, but that sort of vague hint of death about it, mixed with sort of the rusted detritus of the lower hive as well. The hive roof above it, of the under part of Desolation City, is a significant way up and is constantly dripping condensation, oil, other such stuff. It's almost like a constant sort of semi-rainfall throughout the area, despite the fact you're entirely indoors. People that go about do so sort of carrying tarps over their head or using sort of umbrellas to avoid most of the fall. It doesn't appear to be hazardous, but when it hits the ground, some of it sort of pools into black, oily pools. Gives you the impression that maybe it's not just condensation falling from the ceiling. The place itself, the most obvious features of the Gallows Way are the gigantic charnel houses. So these are effectively massive warehouse and processing facilities given over to storing the dead. And literally thousands of dead are brought here every day. So they are often choked to capacity. Often there's been extra sort of semi-regular buildings attached to the side to extend the storage as well, sort of like partitionable space for extra corpses. And the workers are going about the various charnel houses doing their duties. Further down, because it is still a multi-tiered area, despite the fact that it's a single sort of level of the hive, it has many sub-levels. You can sort of hear the factory noises from the mortuarii as they sort of process the bodies after they've been assessed by the charnel houses. The drains, as they're called, the habitable area of the region, is a massive habit area, basically of old shipping containers attached together to form hab blocks, merchant areas as such. Kangaroo, from what you know, this place is normally, it's not like happening all the time. It's not like it's a hive activity, but the sort of the attitude on the street at the moment seems more subdued to what you've heard about of the Gallows Way. Like there are less people out than you would expect, and the people that are out are sort of hurrying to the next thing quite quickly, as though there's someone chasing them. You also don't see many sanctuaries about for what you're used to in terms of you've heard this place has a sanctuary presence. You can certainly see the far end of the region, the Purity Gate, this massive 4-story solid steel and gate embossed with skulls and spikes that basically marks the edge of the lower hive area before descending to the underhive. That's also the sanctuary holding as such, but you would expect to see more sanctuaries in the street as well than what you're seeing right now.
Looks inviting. Can I do like an inquiry check to find out what the flip is going on? Why is everybody being so weird?
Yeah, give me a +10 roll. Inquiry.
Alright. That's my inquiry noise. 10. Go.
That'd be a yes.
Yay, I inquire.
Okay. So, you managed to grab somebody and say, what's happening here, and the fact that someone new sort of grabs them as well, they're a bit sort of shocked at first, but they sort of calm down a moment and say, you haven't heard? There was a horrible murder at one of the charnel houses. The sanctuaries are investigating, but the people are saying that it's the arch enemy or the warp is somehow involved in the deaths.
Why are they saying that?
I don't know. They didn't have details. They just said that it's very mysterious.
Do you know anybody? Do you know who was murdered?
It was not just a single murder. It was there's lots of dead apparently. Maybe it's like some sort of attack.
How many is lots?
I don't know. I just heard that the sanctuary is investigating a mass murder in one of the charnel houses.
Well, look, we'd all best be away. Just tell me which building it is so I can stay away from it.
I think it's Charnel House 17. I think that's what I heard. That place has always been unlucky.
Thank you. Thank you, friend. Go in peace.
He scurries off.
Peacefully, I hope.
Yes.
I just rolled Suniscience, and unless I got a +30 for it, I failed.
No. He wasn't psychic. You could tell that much.
It was more of the...
Yeah, the general vibe, I know. Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'll continue my act and give out small blessings and take confessions from the general populace if they're willing, and offer prayers of protection as well.
Yeah, I mean,
see if anyone else passes on any useful information.
Once you're clearly a priest, a lot of people come up to you for sort of benedictions of luck or protection as such. That there's obviously a lot of people make the signs of the Aquila as they approach you as well. They're clearly frightened about something. And sort of among the various rumours that you hear, like they don't necessarily approach you with the information, but you sort of hear them talking about it as they do approach you to receive your blessings. Is things like there's mention of Charnel House 17. It's clear that these sanctuaries are involved, but what can they do? This is a matter of of the unnatural, and that place was always cursed ever since the mother had illicit dealings with the unholy, illicit congress with the unholy.
Okay, I'm actually going to try an inquiry roll and get a little bit more confession out of them and find out what they mean by the mother having dealings, if possible.
Okay, give me a.
Do
do you want me to draw your picture? Give me a +10 inquiry roll.
Take the horse to water. Hey.
Yeah, there you go. So.
Well, I pass, but I doubt it's going to be anything useful. But
yeah, I mean, basically, you pick up that the current head of that household, the stories are that he is ill-omened because the people believe that his mother was some sort of, not necessarily a witch, but at least that she had, as described, illicit congress with the unholy. He's obviously, half demon or half something.
Okay, try and calm the populace the best I can, and let them know that only people without faith have anything to fear.
I roll my eyes. So I'll look over to Harris and go, Charnel House 17, and shrug.
And I look back at you and I mirror the exact same words. Charnel House 17.
Off we go.
Okay, I think that sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Here we go.
Alright. You still off in that direction. The Charnel houses don't have... Well, actually, no. We'll say they do have giant Roman numerals on them to indicate their numbers as well. Even though there are only 4 Charnel houses in the Gallows Way, they have irregular numbers. They're not 1, 2, 3, and 4. Clearly, there are other Charnel houses in other districts also take care of the same facilities as such. So, yes, out of the 4, you notice that one of them is number 17. There is some sort of conveyance at the front that's clearly got sanctuary markings, and there are a couple of sanctuaries standing outside the front door, effectively standing guard, and everybody else in the area is giving the place a wide berth.
How easy would it be to slip in, do you think?
We're not past those guys. You'd probably have to climb to... Like, basically, a lot of these places don't have many windows because they're trying to keep the sort of descent of the bodies as they're initially processed out of the region. You may be able to climb onto the roof and access like a small upper window or perhaps some sort of vent. How's your athletics?
Yeah.
Not great.
First level characters don't climb.
I think.
Split the party. Split the party.
Well, I was going to say, like, considering our climbing escapades in the last mission, where we all fell in a heap.
Hey!
bottom of a ladder.
One of us made it.
Darius fell like a swan.
Alright, so are we going to let Darius take the lead with this? And say,
I think so.
Oh no.
You could just
alright,
try
I
and
can.
walk in.
Be nice, or just really commanding.
I was thinking that if there's been a murder here, someone has to sanctify the area.
Okay. Well, why don't we act? Why don't we do that? Why don't we have Darius going in as a member of the Arbitrates, bringing along a priest, and I can be his trusty assistant.
I really feel like that would fall under the of our awkwardly staring friend. As I look over at the one with the clear ecclesiarchy robes. Sister.
Well, I think that that's possible.
I don't know about you and I don't know about myself and Kangoro. Maybe we should do some work on the outside.
Oh, yeah,
Depends
we
if
can do
we're
that.
willing to risk getting spotted or going in there, or do we want to have a little bit of a look around elsewhere first?
Well, out of all of us, I think that Volkov and myself will be the most conspicuous.
To try and get in. We don't. There's not really a good cover story that I can think of for why the two of us would be going in there. But certainly for the other three, I think there's, just don't go in together. Just go in 2 groups, and we'll work around the outside with inquiry and omniscience and stuff like that, and we'll see what we can pick up out here. Any additional information.
Sound good?
You happy with that?
Yep.
Sounds good to me. Okay, so I'm gonna, since we're going for the slightly more blatant approach, I'm gonna get my Loudhailer monotask servo skull to start chanting some prayers.
Oh,
And
I'm
I'm
moving
gonna
away
start approaching.
at a brisk pace.
Okay. Who are you with?
Yeah.
Just on your own, or?
I'll go with the sister.
Okay.
Are you gonna turn on your monotask servo skull as well?
Oh god,
Yeah.
we've both got one?
Of course we do.
Let me just make
You
a
can't
quick...
have enough prayers. There's no such thing as too many prayers.
Where's that subtlety score? Might be needing this. Okay.
Out the window. They're not saying we're the Inquisition.
They're saying we're definitely not the Inquisition.
No, we are just average ecclesiarchy people. Nothing to see here, very average.
Nice. All right. Well, as you approach, like they spot you, and they sort of move to.
Funny that.
They move to intercept you as you approach. Priest, sister, what's this about?
Brother Lucius. Brother Lucius, my son.
Sanctuary Breck. What can we do for you? This is
The Emperor be with you, Breck.
um,
Yes, we know what this is. The rumours are circulating, and soon the population they're mighty suspicious. They're unhappy. They feel the darkness of this area, and they have requested that we arrive to cleanse and purify the site.
Oh, I see. Well, we'll need to let me get our commanding officer. I think she should deal with this.
Yes.
Right. So Breck disappears inside while the other one stays outside.
Send me to the chief.
Offer the one which has remained a prayer and bless him.
Okay. Yeah. He seems to be.
Throw
So
water
Volkov
on.
and I are Volkov and I are just like, we're sort of gone. We're skulking somewhere else.
Okay, no worries. Anywhere in particular, or just
go to the
skulking in
nearest bar?
general? Circling the building.
I think we'll sort of stay nearby and see if we can talk to anybody else, but sort of be not part of the of this group.
Right.
Like, you know.
Yeah, my intent was to make sure they got in, and if they got in, sweet, then to maybe walk around.
Well, Chris, give me
building
a
sort of thing and then work my way
minus
back
30
as well.
Sonicians roll.
Whoa, jeez. Alright, sir. Minus 30.
You can do it.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
All right. You
It's
just feel a
bad.
bit. You feel a bit. You don't really sense what it is, but you just something about everything feels a bit wrong at the moment. There's this. You have a psychic sense of unease at the moment around this building.
Fair enough.
Yep. Yeah, there are rubberneckers around as well, around near the building, who are obviously just locals who are watching from afar to see what happens as such. You know, hoping that they might see a headless body or something along those lines. But yeah, otherwise, people give the place a wide berth.
Can we talk to anybody to see if we can get some more information about, you know, the Charnel House and the guild members within?
Yeah, so what you can glean pretty easily, I'm not going to require a roll for this, is that the Charnel House is led by or controlled by the Fayne Carrion Guild, Fayne. The current side of the family is a man by the name of Darnus Fayne, or he runs the Charnel House. Yeah, you obviously pick up the rumours that he is ill-omened because of his mother's illicit congress, etc., etc. Everyone's happy to tell you the story. No one's got any juicy details. It's just what my brother's, sister's, cousin's, mother's former roommate told me. So you know, it's as successful as any other charnel house in the area. People, you know, sort of have some rumours about it being involved in illicit body trade, but that's pretty much a commonplace for any of the charnel houses.
Sorry about that, guys.
Yep, no worries. Most people say that what happened was some strange noises were heard from the charnel house. Now, people vary the strange noises to be either being maybe weapons fire, maybe the sounds of combat, maybe the sounds of the warp, maybe sort of unhallowed words as such. Everybody's got a different story as such, but the initial clue was weird stuff was heard from the charnel house. People maybe went to investigate and found probably around a dozen dead bodies inside, dead under mysterious circumstances. What's mysterious circumstances? Once again, every person's got a different story. Some people say that they were burned by warp fire. Some people say that they were all decapitated. Some people say that they were covered in unusual items or glyphs or etc. etc. It's just you can't get any first-hand witnesses. You get lots of second and third-hand witnesses that all have a different story. But what you can the common facts are: strange noises were heard, about a dozen bodies were found, the sanctuaries were called. Any first-hand witnesses have already been transferred to the Purity Gate for, interrogation / questioning.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I'll let you guys get back to the charnel house then.
Okay.
What did I miss?
Questions.
Harris, basically, you guys have gone to Charnel House 17.
Cool.
Lucius and Demetria are attempting to bluff their way through the front door, while Kane and Volkov and Kangoro are looking around, asking questions, psychically sensing, etc. All right,
Okay.
back at the front door. Go ahead, sorry.
While they're trying to bluff the guards.
Yep.
I was just going to ask, while they're trying to bluff the guards, does it look like they're creating any opening for someone to try to slip in, like with stealth?
The issue is not so much you're not going to be able to sneak through the front door because they're standing right by the front door. If you wanted to be able to get in, it would involve climbing up to a high window or chimney, basically.
I'm gonna go join the. I'm gonna go join Kangoro and Balkov, I think.
Okay. All right. So for Mike and Sam, the Breck returns along with a stern-faced woman in her 30s, wearing a sanctuary captain's uniform. She comes out. What's this about? I'm the oath captain in charge here. You wish to enter to offer some benediction, is that right?
Yes, Emperor's blessings be upon thee. We are here to sanctify the area, to cleanse it of any impurities and calm the population before something untoward happens.
Right, can I see your cogs?
Certainly.
Right.
Hand over the cog, which I was given by the Inquisition.
No worries. Okay, so she has a look at it quickly. Doesn't remember when you went through the gate before it was plugged into a machine. She just examines it visually, and the same again with Demetria's cogs. She says, "Okay, follow me. Come inside."
Thank you, my child. Follow her in.
Okay, no worries. She walks you into sort of the antechamber of the charnel house itself, which is sort of like a reception area. In here, you do get that scent of corpses and death, basically, along with that sort of heavy formaldehyde smell too. It's quite unpleasant in general, but there's also a scent of something wrong on the air as well, as if the scent of corpses and formaldehyde wasn't wrong enough. But there's something unnatural on the air too. As you step in, there's a couple of other sanctuaries waiting inside the room as well. She actually puts her hand on the sort of stock of a shotgun, which is slung along her waist, and says, "Okay, now, why don't you tell me who you really are?"
I think that I've done a good job of telling you who I am. I'm Brother Lucius. I'm here to cleanse the area.
I know enough about oath cogs.
Why would you doubt my my story?
I know enough about oath cogs to recognise when one's been tampered with, which means you're either a criminal, a thief, not being the same thing, or something more that you're not telling me.
I'm certainly no criminal or thief. I'm most certainly a member of the Administrator, the Adeptus.
Ministorum.
Ministorum.
Where am I from? Where am I from?
I forgot who I work for.
Line.
I'm certainly a member of the Adeptus Ministorum. You can take that to mean exactly whatever you think it means. I'm simply here to make sure that there's nothing unfortunate going on down here.
She sort of considers long and hard for a moment, and then she turns to the other two that are there in the room with you and says, "Go outside and make sure the others are okay. Make sure see if there's anyone else watching." And those two leave, so it's just the two of you plus her at the moment.
Can I like make a hide check or something?
Sorry. Well, I mean, have you got microbeads on open
Hide
channel,
now.
by the way?
Do we still have the
I
microbeats from the
Yes,
last
you still got the
mission?
microbeads that Curse gave you before.
Then
I would assume
I
they're
don't
open
see any
channel,
reason
but-
why they'd be turned off.
Okay.
Yeah, but once you'd moved inside, I don't know how far the range was going to be.
It's 1 kilometre.
Okay.
Yeah, Brother Lucius isn't exactly the most tech-savvy person, so it's turned to whatever setting it was set to when it was handed to him, and
Okay.
it has not changed from that.
Yep. So I'm happy to say that the rest of you can pick up this conversation from outside the building, and you do see two more sanctuaries sort of come out, talk to the others, and sort of look around. Now, their glance is pretty cursory. If they knew what they were looking for, then maybe. But in the end of the day, you guys are inconspicuous enough to not draw their attention. You're not like skulking, but you're not climbing the walls of the building. Luckily, so they're not sure what they're looking for.
You
Back
know what?
inside.
You need to fix that. Some
What's that?
loud hailer servo scarves.
Of course.
Oh god.
She once the other two have left, she says, I take it then, without your necessary confirmation, that you are servants of this mysterious Inquisitor Azarak.
That could be possible. The most that you need to really know is that we are here to investigate what's going on. We've heard word of unholy artifacts being shipped around down here, and my superiors, whoever they may be, have deemed it important that I come down here and have a look.
Alright. I'm going to take you at your word on this for the moment, but I will be making further inquiries, and if I find that you have played me false, there will be consequences. Are there others in your group that need to see what I'm going to show you, or is it just the two of you?
There are others. I'll find out if they wish to be witnessed.
Alright, so everyone hears
I'll
that.
wait to see if I hear anything over the microbeat that anyone would want to come in.
Shut up!
Can we get in without
Shut
going
up, man.
through the
Be
front
cool.
door?
Alright, well, I guess we know that we're not busted, so maybe we should go in, boys?
I think Subtlety's
Yeah,
shot to hell, so we might as well see where this leads us.
I go back to the can we get in without going through the front door where everybody's gawping.
Okay, so that's your question to Lucius, obviously. Yep.
Yeah.
I believe you're Oath Captain Niels, yes?
Correct, yes. Katie O'Neill's.
Okay, my compatriots wish to know, is there another way into this building where they're not going to be witnessed by all the people staring at the front door?
She sort of considers for a moment. Yes, but it's less than pleasant.
Oh, I don't think they'll mind at all.
They can handle it.
Alright.
You son of a blue.
Alright, she pulls out a small handheld communicator and says, Breck, could you please head around the back to the corpse hatch and wait there? There might be some people coming up there shortly that will require access to the building. And she turns back to you. If you tell your friends, if you can, assuming you can talk to them, to head round the back, they'll find my officer waiting by the corpse hatch.
Oh,
There you go, guys.
thought it
There's a lovely rear entrance by the way of the corpse hatch. Be glad you're
Sounds-
coming in via the corpse hatch rather than leaving via the corpse hatch.
Sounds
I'm really glad that it's
delightful.
just the corpse hatch. I thought it was going to be poo.
What, sorry?
Go.
I thought it...
Kangoro,
Alright,
what's one of the first things
go.
the corpse does when it dies?
Yeah, but
It voids itself.
So
in.
there'll be poo.
Okay, so you head around the back to this. So effectively, there's this large pile at the back of the building, which pretty much appears to be predominantly rags of clothes, small, useless personal items like broken chronos, tin fillings from teeth, anything which could be removed from a dead body, which has no inherent value for recycling or for theft. It's just a pile of general detritus of which the stink of death clings to. And there is a metal hatch which a sanctuary is currently holding open. Those of you that are going around the back, give me awareness tests at -10.
Alright, let's do this.
Yes.
No.
Critical no. Okay. So
Wait, hang on. I rolled... Oh, okay, no, never mind. I was like, I rolled at minus... Okay, no, I got it. It's fine.
alright.
Lars Volkov is aware.
Yes. So Volkov notices as you are heading towards this hatch that there are marks on the hatch on the outside that you would say indicates it has been open recently. There's like handprints or fingerprints around the edges. Not necessarily. There's like a handle which Sanctuary is holding open, but there's also recent marks in the dirt around the edges that there's so much dust here it will be covered quickly. It must have been relatively recently it's been opened, other than by the handle.
I'll grab Harris and point at the marks.
I slowly look around.
Sorry, Darius.
I take Volkov's lead, and I'd like to just keep an eye out to see if there's anyone else around at the moment. Does it look like they're fresh, or does it look like it's quite old?
Oh, when I say fresh, I mean like within the last 24 hours.
Okay, alright, so it's not that fresh. Okay.
Oh yeah. Move inside.
Well, as I've gone ungrabbed, I guess I'm just climbing up the corpse going, hey guys, come on!
None of the sanctuaries are with us at the moment, are they?
Just the one that's holding, this sanctuary Breck who's holding open the hatch for you.
I incline my head as we move past the sanctuary, and I simply murmur, "It would be best if you recalled that we were never here."
He sort of shrugs. Okay. So you guys get the exciting climb up a diagonal chute into what is effectively a industrial-sized morgue. At this point, Lucius and Sister Demetria come through as well, led by Oath Captain Nils. Everything about this place seems to be in order, basically, like as far as a factory-sized mortuary can be. Lots of bodies piled up on one end in a sort of semi-stored formation. So there's basically two large piles. One is basically a pile of bodies which have been delivered as is, still clothed, etc. One is a pile which is pretty much just naked bodies that have been stripped of all their personal belongings and cleaned and ready for transfer to be further processed. There's also a large locked store which appears to house racks full of oath cogs, which is quite well secured. as well as various large, like think of like those giant skip bins, filled. Like each skip bin is a different thing. So like one skip bin is like teeth fillings that are of a certain value as such, like if it's tin or gold or that sort of stuff. One is, for example, all jewelry. One is all eyeglasses. One is all watches, that sort of thing.
Is one all power weapons?
No.
Force weapons?
They're relieved in a different factory. So this stern-faced woman in red armor approaches the group of you that have come up the chute. She sort of makes a sign of Aquila and bows to you. I am Oath Captain Katian Nils. I guess it's fortuitous that you have arrived, if you are who I believe you are. Please follow me up to the office and you'll see what all this matter is about.
As we go, I sort of just say to Captain Mills, of course you understand our desire for discretion.
Yes, of course. As I would hope you understand the need for discretion in this region as well. I can't have a wholesale panic on my hands.
As Kangor goes on about wanting discretion, I look back the way we came. It's like, damn, she bit on.
You head upstairs to what is basically like an administration office that overlooks the factory floor, and in the middle of the room is a pile of bodies. So it appears to be some severe violence was done in this room. About a half dozen of the bodies, or about 5 or 6 of the bodies, are quite fresh. They appear to have been the main combatants, because the other bodies are they look like they've been dead for weeks. There's a mixture of bodies from what you'd guess would be the corpse storage, along with bodies that are recent additions as such. They wear current clothes. They are bloodied. Whereas although the dead bodies that have been here for a while are also cut, they haven't bled, for example. It's hard to tell exactly what went on here. There is one body sort of lying on the very top of the pile, facing up. He's wearing factory clothes as well. But on top of that, he's wearing an unusual pendant, which appears to be... It's like a shard of obsidian. Very, very smooth, similar to the orb. And in fact, Volkov, when you sort of see this thing, whenever you're looking at the pendant, it's like it becomes the center of your vision. You sort of start to experience tunnel vision, where it's all you can sort of look at, and the longer you look at it, even sort of sound starts to fade out. Like it's sort of it's the center of your being. When you look away, the process completely stops. When you look back, it resumes again. But there's something very unsettling about this pendant on this body.
Would the pendant feel like it was akin to the orb?
It looks like it's a similar material. You'd probably need to examine it much closer, like by hand, to really tell them anymore.
So we're standing back from.
Yeah, you're standing at the doorway, looking at this wholesale slaughter. I mean, and there's it was a big fight. There's blood splattered on the walls, on the glass. There are weapons lying around as well. It was mostly melee weapons.
What sort of weapons?
Mostly melee, so just pretty much swords and knives.
And Nils is, I assume she's at the doorway and we're looking through.
Yep.
I'll slide between the other people.
Yep.
And I'll walk up, so I'm now in parallel with her.
Yes.
And raise my arm as in gesturing as can I go forward?
She nods. Yes. If there's any evidence here to gather, I don't understand it.
I move straight. I move without kicking or stepping on anything.
Yes.
And work my way towards that particular body.
Yep.
With doing my best to not look at the shard until I reach the body.
Okay, no problem. You reach the body unmolested.
So basically, they are all in a pile on the center of the room.
Yes.
At the order of the bodies, this one with this piece of whatever is on top?
On the very top, facing up, like he's fallen backwards onto the pile at the very end of the fight.
Are there blood? Is there blood on the ceiling? You said.
Yeah, there's blood splatter everywhere. This was a very visceral
Okay.
fight.
Any particular pattern?
Just what you would expect from. Imagine 12 people having a machete fight. What that would do to a room.
Nice.
That's what this room looks like.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not any sort of arcane symbology or anything like that.
Is it a bit
Now, as
weird
I'm
that there's like a big pile of bodies, like
Yes.
just all in one place?
Yep.
Well, Darius the detective is probably going to tell you yes.
Turning to the Oath Captain, just ask her quickly. So who reported this? When was this discovered?
About 2.5 hours ago, we received some reports from locals who had gone in to investigate unusual sounds, and this is the scene they found. We believe that the people investigating may have scared off additional attackers, though I'm not sure why anyone that would perpetrate this sort of crime would flee from general populace looking into unusual noises. But
Exactly
they
who
thought they
are
heard.
these people?
So from what we can tell, about half of them are rep workers from this charnel house. Some of them don't have, well, among those ones, some of them don't have oath cogs, and we've also observed damage on the ground. Like, we haven't really moved much of the body yet, but there are parts. Oath cogs could have been damaged in the fight because they're normally worn on the chest. For example, you can see that the guy on top, he's not wearing his oath cog, but there is a place on his chest where it would normally hang. The other bodies appear to be several weeks old. They must have been brought up here from the piles downstairs. I'm not sure why anyone would bring up bodies and hack them to pieces.
So all these bloods definitely not 24-hour fresh or... Okay.
The blood you see here appears to be fresh from the people the workers that were killed. The older bodies have been cut too, but they didn't bleed because they've already been embalmed.
Yeah, that's... Okay.
Yeah.
Does this look like anything the cults, the gangs around here would take part in?
she sort of looks a bit sort of taken aback. No, this is not. There is only really one gang that threatens this area, and this is certainly not their style.
What is their style?
Okay, let me rephrase that. Yes, they are predominantly a melee weapon gang. Yeah, they are cutters. But to walk in, butcher a group of people, stack their bodies among the dead, and then leave. They're a typical underworld criminal group. They deal with illicit items. They deal with theft. They deal with violence. But this is something else.
Do we have any direct eyewitnesses who are not one of our good friends on the floor?
You mean who saw the actual fight taking place?
Saw the fight, witnessed it on any of the picked casters that you might have around here.
There's nobody steals dead bodies. Well, sorry, people steal dead bodies in this region, but nobody cares. There's no picked thieves installed in this place. It's too old. But the closer we have a couple of people that I've had detained and sent to the Purity Gate, who heard the noise and were the first ones to arrive. But as I mentioned, it seems their arrival scared off whoever was still here.
Whilst these discussions are going on,
Yes.
Volkov is going to circle the mound, taking in, all the details around the room and the way the round is until he works his way back to where he started.
Yes.
Can I roll on either A, Forbidden War, Demonology, or Psyker? Will any of one of these be triggered by the things seeing in front of me?
No, there's no sort of cult nature to it as such. No symbols. It is literally what it appears to be. Basically, a massive attack. There is no connection with Psyker or the Warp or Demonology you can really roll on. Unfortunately, in this case.
That's all right. Then I will sit down in front of the pile. You can see, like from where the characters are looking, because it's to my back. You'll see that I'll put my hand in my jacket, and you'll see my hand moving. And I will take a moment to center myself before I roll for a Psyniscience.
Okay.
Check.
Give me a roll at +10.
That's what I'm looking for. Roll, and that's in. That's 2 degrees of success.
Okay. Woo! The pendant itself has the foul taint of the warp. It doesn't appear to be connected to any of the ruinous powers. It's just of the warp, basically. There is also there is like an unnaturalness about the room as well, that appears to cling to the bodies, but it's not something you can really put your finger on. But there is some sort of power or something was used in here, or at least this has been the result of some sort of power being used.
Alright, I'll stand up, and the pendant is on some sort of is it a chain or a cloth?
Well, it doesn't have any sort of eyelet or anything to go through it, so effectively what they've done is they've used like a leather strap, and they've just wrapped a leather strap around the base, at top and bottom of the shard in order to secure it.
Okay, I'm going to detach it.
Yes.
And
holding the pendant or holding the cloth?
Holding the cloth for
Okay.
now. And I'm going to move back towards the other players.
Yes.
When I move back, I'm going to pull, like, gesture for some of the characters to the warband to move off to the side with myself for a little quiet word.
I come to Volkov's side.
Neil shrugs in a bit of annoyance and steps away.
And I'm just going to say, look, I believe we have a similar artifact to our last quarry. I'm going to try and confirm that, just so you know what I'm going to do. So I'll take another seat back down, like holding the thing.
Yep.
And I'll now center myself again.
Yes.
And I'll I'll use my finger to touch the pendant.
Okay. Although the service... sorry, go ahead. You want to shoot Volkov?
Sorry, I look at Volkov, and before he goes back down, I kind of give him a look, and it my face basically says what I can't say aloud, and it's like, are you sure about this?
I say it out loud.
I see it, and it's the look of I give a look of determination.
I clearly am uncomfortable with what's going on, but I give Volkov the benefit of the doubt, and I take a hearty step back.
Okay. So
hang on, the last time that we used the last time that we used a power within close range of this thing, didn't it make everything explode?
Well, everything screamed and so on and so forth. I'm not using any power. I'm merely making a connection with this item, which is what I did with the orb before.
Okay.
So, and I'm preparing myself for a similar occurrence, hoping that I am now more prepared than the first time that I connected with the entity.
As Volkov slips into what he's doing, I give Kangoro a look, and I slowly put my hand on the bolt pistol on my side, and I just leave it there.
All right. So you touch the surface of the pendant. Although it appears to be completely smooth obsidian to the eye. When you touch it, it's like running your finger across like a spiked enemy. Just this constant sort of prickly feeling. Not like a cactus, like just a whole sort of surface of sharp points. And when you pull your finger away, you've actually got a few spots of blood on your finger where the surface has somehow cut you. Yet you don't have any of the weird sensations that you experience with the orb. You do somehow get the feeling, though, that somehow what you're looking at here is not the complete item. Like, this is a piece of something larger. It's a broken shard of a more complete item.
Okay, so I'll place the item into a pocket, and I'll stand back up and show my finger to Darius. In like this is like, you were so concerned. You were concerned about it, and all I got was a little bit of blood on my finger. Offering it for his approval.
I roll my eyes, and I stand there thoroughly chided.
I then suck on my finger a little bit. Does it continue bleeding, or like?
Oh, it heals. It's like a pinprick, so it heals quite quickly.
Okay, cool. Yeah. It's gonna slowly bleed out from my finger. Goodo. Rightio. So I'll say I've gone. This is a shard of a greater item. There's more. I believe we'll find more. Once we find the home for this shard, we will find our quarry.
Okay. Look over to the Oath Captain.
Yep.
You mentioned that the local gangs involved in selling items of stolen goods. Would heretical items be in their view, or are they not quite that advanced?
I don't think that will be what they look for, but if it appears to have value, they will steal it. I've had a number of investigations here where I've come across items stolen from corpses, and some of them are of a clearly unhallowed nature. Anything I've found that I've sent up the chain to the higher levels of the sanctuaries, but I rarely, if ever, hear anything back about further investigations.
Very well. Well, I think we should investigate this room further. I'm gonna have a little bit of a look around. Maybe
Alright.
move some of the bodies.
Has anybody got Medicaid they want to test against?
No.
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Give me a.
I have no Medicaid.
Can it be done untrained?
Sure. Why not? It'll be at -20 though.
Yeah.
Woohoo, let's do that.
After that infliction, like of the cut, I probably would now be more interested in the cuts or anything like that were going on, or the injuries specifically. See if they matched up with the injury that occurred to me.
Yeah. I'll also take -10 awareness tests.
Well,
Ooh.
could I do one or the other?
You can do both. They're for two separate things.
Alright. -10 for perception, let's go. Did I make it?
Oh, I don't get it.
Mike, you can show Sam how to do rolls, can you?
$78 and 86. God damn. Could I use a fate point to reroll my awareness test?
Sure. Does someone have nothing escapes my sight as well?
Isn't that you, Darius? That you have nothing escapes my sight?
No, I don't believe so.
I thought it was Kangaroo.
Nope, I don't have nothing escapes my sight.
What's your Seeker special ability?
Or maybe I do have it. Let's find out.
So exciting. Nothing escapes my sight. It's on your
so
character
up
sheet.
on.
So you can re-roll a failed awareness test at additional -10 for free.
Oh yeah. Alright, I'll do that then. So, -30. Woohoo. I mean, no, -20.
I'm pretty sure you've done this before.
Yeah, I know. It's been a couple of weeks since I played.
You have lots of characters and lots of different games.
I do. So many characters, so many games. I still didn't get it, and I will use a fate point because I actually want to get this.
Yep.
I would like to succeed at least one roll that I do this game.
Yep. Hey.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was on the awareness
Thanks.
test.
Yeah, that was the awareness test.
Okay. So you are able to find several damaged pieces of oath cogs. So you're able to find oath cogs, some of which are undamaged, some of which are damaged. All the oath cogs that you can find appear to be of workers of this charnel house. So from what you can glean, there's 12 bodies. 6 of them are workers of the charnel house. One of them appears to be a slightly nicer cog, but it's heavily damaged. This one's been like hit directly with a blade and shattered basically. And they appear to attach to. There's 7 bodies here which are fresh bodies, and so there seems to be enough oath cogs to cover 7 people, even though some are damaged. So it would appear that the only bodies without oath cogs are the ones that are the long-term dead.
Does it look like the long-term dead have moved at all? Like, do they look like they have possibly been ambulant?
Without a good Medicaid test, it's hard to tell.
Maybe Niles has somebody that can fulfill that request. Sorry, Nils.
Shall we ask her?
Yeah, ask her. So proceed to ask her. There you go.
Alright. I guess I call over and say, there seems to be... Why are there so many old corpses around here? Do you generally keep old corpses in a big pile in the middle of this room?
Well, no, they're normally piled downstairs. I mean, a charnel house is not an unusual place to find a large number of corpses. But you're right, it is unusual that they are in this room, and they've also been hacked up.
Do you have a chirurgeon that might be able to have a look at these corpses?
Yeah, not on this level. That's not really the way that the sanctuaries tend to work. We investigate crimes of nature, or of a more sort of cog-based or I guess infrastructure-based nature. This is not really what we're kitted out for. You do recall, by the way, that your the person you know on this set level, Cog Lostock, is a disgraced surgeon. Yes, Sam, you had a question?
Oh yeah.
All the corpses are not all the corpses are from workers from the house. Is that correct?
Yeah, all the fresh corpses are definitely workers from this charnel house. But
all of them have cogs, right? All the bodies,
yes,
damaged or not, they all have.
No, the old bodies don't have cogs. There are as many cogs as there are fresh bodies.
Okay.
7.
Yep.
Okay, shall we go and see
wounds.
this?
Just have a quick look at the wounds on these fresh bodies.
Yes.
What sort of wounds are they? Are they hacking wounds from axes and swords, or are they knives, or are they
They're hacking wounds
clubs,
from
or what?
They're hacking wounds from effectively machetes, and the weapons are around on the floor as well. I mean, they are the sort of weapons that are used to, or not? They're not weapons, I say. They are the sort of tools that are used to cleanse bodies. They've just been used in a offensive capacity.
Oh, so they're giant flensing blades.
Yes.
Looking at this with this new knowledge, could I roll on Forbidden War Psychers as there being an ability to animate dead or past people?
Yeah, give me a roll. I'll give you a +10.
Or can I use a fate point to add 10 to that?
No, you can use a fate point if you succeed to add a degree of success, but you can't just add +10 to the result after you've rolled.
I'm going to use one.
Okay.
I'm going to use a fate point to reroll that. No. Audio.
Yeah, you're not sure.
Son of a gun.
I mean, certainly walking corpses sounds like the domain of the warp.
But actually knowing of a
Specific power. Yeah, you're not sure.
ritual or an example that has been used before to do that. No. Okay, cool.
Okay, well, I guess, what should we do now, boys? And Sam?
Okay, I want to know what's under this pile. Why is it a giant pile? So I'm going to start moving some of the bodies around a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Are they going to fall apart if I start moving them?
No, they've been preserved.
Yeah.
So I mean, they haven't been. They've been fatally hacked, but not dismembered. So.
Okay, I want to get to the bottom of the pile if that's possible.
Okay. All right. So
Treating them with some respect.
All right. So you push the bodies out of the way and find bloodied floor. There's nothing under the pile.
Nothing under the pile. It's just for some reason they're all in a big pile.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you mind if we have a look around the rest of the rest of the charnel house at all?
She looks at you. I don't see where that would be a problem. You might find something useful. Maybe I can make an extra suggestion. This is really out of my jurisdiction, but I've heard a lot of stories through my brief time here about the proprietor of this charnel house. If he's among the corpses, I'm not sure, but the various carrying guilds are quite close-knit. If you are here in some sort of official investigative capacity, you might be able to get some more information from the other charnel house heads. It's not really the sort of line of inquiry I can perpetrate without ruffling a lot of feathers.
Okay, that's certainly a good idea. You said there was someone in here who had a slightly better oath cog. Are they also slightly better dressed? They like a manager or a foreman or something?
Well, the only thing that really defines a person different is a person wearing the pendant. I mean, they're dressed in the same leather smock of a. You go through, nothing that stands out. They were in the same leather smock as a standard member of the or worker here, basically. I'm just going to put up here. So Nils will give you this. This is a list of the 4 charnel houses and their proprietors.
Okay. So,
Oath Captain, have you ever actually met the head of this house?
This Thane? No. Not in my time here.
where can we find him?
Well, I would have assumed here. I have some other officers looking for him.
Alright, so we've got... Alright, I'm gonna rewind here. So we've got a room that has 7 workers, one of which who had a slightly better oath cog, who was also holding a shard of some sort of a Xeno...
You don't necessarily know that the better oath
touch.
cog came from him, by the way. He just wasn't wearing an oath
sorry.
cog. Yep.
Alright. But he was one of the 7,
Yes.
correct? Okay, so he's one of the 7, likely to have who was held one of the 7 oath cogs, to have been a worker here. He had a shard of an artifact that is Xenos / warp touched. There is a number of other bodies which appear to have been not fresh and then placed into this pile, but having been cut up in a not the regular pattern that you would cut up a body. And we've got no witnesses to what occurred here, and the only clue we've picked up is the fact that there appears to have been somebody who has made entrance to the rear through the channel chute, through the body chute. Am I missing anything here?
Not really.
No.
Reading this information about the carrion guilds, they all look like they've got some pretty dodgy history. Looks like it's just rumours by the peasants.
Okay. Remember from when I was doing my awareness test around the chute at the back, is there any sort of a... He says, like refresher, like, you know, like an eating unit or anything like that, that people might have been around the rear during this time or something, or area of congregation, or is it a
No,
little,
the rear
way
basically
and
faces the
nobody
hive wall. They make it this way so that people don't have to look at the detritus that falls out the back of the charnel houses.
Yep, fair enough. Okay. Well, yeah. I'm not. Oh, yeah. I'm probably not going to bother passing that information onto Nils, as she's made it quite clear that really this is beyond her scope of duties. So.
I mean, it's clear. You get the impression she clearly wants to solve this crime. Like normally, most sanctuaries you met, they only care about cogs and crimes relating to cogs. She clearly wants to solve this crime, but has her bureaucratic hands tied.
Okay. Alright, so I'm going to move over to Nil, and I'm going to say, I appreciate that you are eager to finances, but you are leashed to your duties. Perhaps we may work together in trying to use our through using your skills and our skills into tying up this event. Do you have a way of contacting you?
I can give you a Vox frequency.
Is it a direct link to you?
Yes, I can give you something. We'll do that.
I take the numbers and incline my head appreciatively.
As I've told your friend here as well, your associate, I'll be making my own inquiries as well, just to ensure that everything appears to be above board. But I'd like to know that I've been played straight on this matter.
Does she know anything about the shard at all? Where it might have come from, or if anybody's been dealing with illicit Xenos artifacts at all?
You're asking
Well,
me?
I certainly, yeah, no, I haven't at this point. And I mean, there was already a question about who was running illicit artifact, like artifacts down here. I believe Lucius, you asked that question, correct?
Yeah, I did ask, and she said that the gangs, if they thought it had some value, they'd grab it and try and
They would
sell
have
it.
taken it, yeah.
Yeah.
But mostly,
Yeah, okay.
as far as she's noticed, they've come down here on dead bodies. So I'm just wondering if maybe some of these artifacts have ended out in the boneyard, because I mean, it looks like just a piece of rock that can't be recycled. it may just end up getting dumped into the areas where they ditch non-recyclable materials.
Oh, I am so not sifting through that. But I am willing to use my skills, perhaps narrow that search, or remove any possibility of needing to do it. I don't believe I did a Sunny Sins check when I was in that pile, but I can go back there and do one.
Well, that was not the boneyard. That pile at the back was not the boneyard. The boneyard is something different. The boneyard is the materials that have been processed by the mortuarians. After the body's been rendered down into fats, proteins, etc. It's really the stuff that has no recyclable value and what goes into the boneyards.
Alright, so not the stuff that was at the back of the...
yeah. But Mike, based on what you're saying, is in things that would be found on the body and just thrown away, that would probably end up at the back of the charnel house, in those piles at the back.
Okay, so that would be out the back then.
Yep.
Yep. I'll do a Sunny Sins on the way out.
Yep. I mean, Niels can tell you that those piles are usually picked clean by scavengers looking for anything they might have missed that can be sold, and they'll usually then go on to the scrap markets to try and flog anything they find there.
I suspect we've gotten all that we'll gather from here.
Yeah, so I guess we've got two choices. We can either follow the possibility of the items, or we can follow the murderers. What do we want to do?
Well, as far as the items, I mean, I don't know if there's much we can go on down here. I mean, we've already taken out the main guy who's bringing in these items into the hive. So...
Well, I don't know about the main guy.
Taking out a guy.
A guy, yeah, rightio. Look, I would be inclined to either A, try and get a hold of this, Darius Fane character, Darvis Fane, to perhaps get some more information on him, or if we're still trying to find him, it sounds like the Sanctuaries are trying to get a hold of him. If they can't find him, perhaps we should speak to some of the other houses and see if maybe they know where he might be, if he's holed up, or if he's feeling he is being put under pressure from this attack, then perhaps they might know where he would hold up.
Should we talk to
Okay, I think that sounds like a good idea.
Niels offers, by the way, if none of you have the expertise required, I can take the damaged cogs back to the purity gate and see that they're repaired. We can maybe verify exactly who is whom.
My mind kicks over going, yes, more cogs. More cogs. More cogs on cog throne.
Do any of us actually have any sort of tech abilities to repair these cogs?
It's a tech use test to repair it at -20.
I do.
The first thing about these cogs.
Yeah, no, I think Darius is the only one with tech use. Is that correct?
Oh, nope.
Me.
Oh, Kangoro.
Yay.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, so I I reckon we see if we can get I think that we get Nils to go and investigate the cogs while we go and maybe either talk to one of the other channel houses or try and track down Mr. Fane.
I think maybe we should split. Half go try and find the guy, half go talk to other houses.
The sanctuaries are already looking for Fane, that's correct?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Perhaps we can get her to contact us if and when they find him, and then we can do the searching for him as we're going through the other channel houses. Because I think they're probably going to be the ones that will have the best idea about where the head of a channel house would go if they didn't want to be found. Will be the other channel houses.
Okay, I agree with that. That sounds good.
Not Joe Blogs on the street.
So you know which charnel house you want to start with?
I think we should go with shall we go with the old guy who seems to have been around for 1,000,001 years?
The crazy
Or the
guy.
youngest member of a noble family.
Yeah, I think that was my other one. I think either Vlador or Keth.
Yeah, okay. I think that's probably a good choice, either one of those two.
So which
you
one?
need to narrow it down one further. Yep.
Well, I've made my suggestion.
Does Roll20 have a D2 function? No, it
Yeah,
doesn't.
yeah. I don't know. I'm not a big fan with dealing with the insane. Maybe we should go for the more sane and perhaps more impressionable. Although she may not have as much information.
Impressionable.
Alright.
2 of her husbands died. I don't think she expresses herself that easily.
Don't sleep with her.
I'll try not to. Alright, so we'll go for Vlador.
Okay, no worries.
Okay, Vlador it is.
Alright, you set off to House Vlador. Do you guys want to take a quick 5-minute bathroom break?
Yeah,
that
that
sounds
sounds
good.
good to me.
Yep. Do that.
Right back.